Alrighty.
Fire it up. Fire it up.
Fire it up.
There's no time to lose.
I forgot to put a new image in there. That's okay. I'll fix it later. Hello, welcome to the 2023 Stickie Awards. We actually
what?
Well,
Man,
2020. Yeah, 2023.
We're doing the what with the who and the what?
Well, so I don't know, whatever. YouTube ate the stream archive, and then I fucked up the backup archive, and
Mistakes were made.
then it disappeared,
Problems there.
and I felt bad, and then I didn't want to mess with it for a long time. But I still have all this stuff, so I figure we might as well use it real quick and at least make an archive of
Especially
our
since we're about to do
2023 award
2024 stickies.
Yes.
And we did all that work. We should not have a gap.
The 24th, I believe, is what we've said.
Yeah.
Tentatively, January 24th, we're going to do the 2024 Stickie Awards.
Yeah,
But anyway, this is all about 2023. You guys need to go back into your memories over a year.
It's not a bad thing that we're doing this, because I was going to say, like, oh man, like 2024 beat the pants off 2023 in terms of games. But then I looked back on our list and was like, oh, wait, all sorts of cool stuff came out last year.
Pretty much
last year.
Pretty much every year for the last 10 years has been pretty damn good. So
Yeah, every year is now good. It is the way I think that the video game. If I've
the
said
last
this
time we had a
before,
weak year was 2014, I would say.
that sounds roughly correct.
I agree.
But like, I think if you are a person who only pays attention to or plays like AAA mainstream games from big studios, which I don't know how those people still exist, but they do, then like every year kind of sucks now. But if you're
if you're one of those people, it's because you spend 80, 90 hours with each of those games and 6 months on each of them, and then you're probably happy because you got your Assassin's Creed and you just spent most of the year on that.
You got I guess your dollar to hour algorithm is probably happy.
It's
And so that's all that matters. Yeah.
I guess, yeah. Fair enough. But you're missing out on all kinds of really good shit if you're not playing indie games.
I don't know. I don't know if there's anybody that doesn't.
Dude, I saw a video the other day. I was watching a video about
people who
Balatro.
their game every year is like Call of Duty or whatever. So.
Right, or Madden or whatever. But I saw there were a bunch of people who did not know Balatro existed until it got nominated for Game of the Year in the Game Awards. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Fair. Anyway, let's take a look at the runners up to our top 10 list. As you know, if you've followed us in the past, or if you don't know, we'll tell you that we have the super duper secret formula that mathematically determines what the 10 best games of the year were.
11 herbs and spices.
Yeah, we don't need to go into the details, but suffice it to say that our list is always the actual one true list. And everybody else is just trailing in our wake, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, last year, we had a whole bunch of ties at 11.
Normally we have more ties up above, in the 10.
Yeah.
So it's like the top 17 games because of all the ties. But last year we only had like one.
Yeah, last year we had just about 10 straight across, and then a whole bunch.
There are 11
of
games in our top 10.
Yeah. So anyway, let's see. Number 11 was something called Storyteller, which I believe Kurt played.
I did.
Number 11 was Payday 3, which is somewhat of a pariah in the time sense, but if you took it out of the context of it being the follow-up to Payday 2, I thought it was a good time.
The four of us had fun.
Yeah.
We had 2 fun hour-long sessions with it.
Yeah. Endlight, which we might talk about a little bit later.
Endlight is definitely a thing.
Shadow Gambit.
I would have actually bumped Endlight up just a tiny bit because I would have not had Payday. If I'd played Endlight before we did this, I would have ranked it as my number 10 instead of Payday 3, but I had not played it yet.
Yeah.
So let's see. Shadow Gambit, which was unfortunately the last game made by that studio.
Yeah, and that's a shame because it's really good.
Yeah. Gunbrella, which I think was one that Joe had only played.
Yeah, that's a Devolver Metroidvania with a gun umbrella.
Yeah.
Hence,
game called A Space for the Unbound, which was like a point-and-click RPG or a point-and-click adventure game that I played that was quite good. Vengeful Guardian.
Yeah, Vengeful Guardian Moonrider.
That's it. Yeah.
That was the follow up to Blazing Chrome from this. Not like a story follow up, but from the same studio. It's a Shinobi alike. It's not as good as Blazing Chrome. Not even close.
Super Insecure World, which is a Kaizo Mario hack that Mike
yeah, that was a
played.
good one.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah. A puzzle game called Humanity, which has a really great look and is quite fun. He plays
That's
a dog.
the weird one with like hordes of people.
Yes, the humans like
endlessly
pour out
charging
of these
forward.
doors, and then you have to like manipulate them to get them to the end. And you're
We played in VR that game.
It's pretty cool in VR too.
So
Yeah,
it's human lemmings.
kind of. It's a little bit.
Lemmings.
It is.
Lemmings.
It's a puzzle game where you have to like actively
Humings.
solve the thing as they're moving around. Another weird little game I played called Little Goody Two Shoes, which was it's like a JRPG style little short horror game. It doesn't have any combat, but it does have some puzzle solving stuff in it. It's a prequel to an RPG Maker horror game that had come out many years earlier. I didn't know that when I played it.
Little goody one shoes.
It's like a German folk art kind of style. It's pretty good. It was pretty neat.
I assumed you played as Bad Ash.
Gravity Circuit, which is like a pastiche of like
Oh.
5 different Super Nintendo games.
Yes, but they're all. Oh man,
good,
Gravity
yeah.
Circuit. I forgot how good that game is. That game's good.
Yep.
That's a fun game.
If you like Mega Man X and Bionic Commando and
Yes,
something else with melee
Beautiful
combat. Yeah.
Beautiful Joe.
yeah.
It's got Beautiful Joe combat and Mega Man like power acquisition
Right.
and Bionic Commando traversal.
Chance of Sonar, which is a very elegant and quite beautiful language puzzle game.
Language puzzle game.
That's that one. That's
Yeah.
that one. Okay.
Also looks really cool.
Does nice,
Yeah.
very pretty art. Double Dragon Gaiden,
Mm-hmm.
which is that the
That is
roguelite?
the roguelite. Yeah, the roguelite Double Dragon.
Okay. Cocoon,
Good.
which is another like very stylish, very nice puzzle
Still
game.
haven't played that.
It's
It
pretty
was
short.
from the design by the guy that did Inside.
Yes.
Yes.
Was it?
And
Yeah, it
then-
looked like that. It
Yeah.
looked
Why
really
I
good. And a
wanted
couple
very-
Yeah.
Very bug centric.
Yes.
Quite interesting.
Go if
couple of mind benders at the end.
If you like to
Yep.
go in and out of orbs, it's
This is
that's
a game
for
for you.
It's number one with a bullet.
Yeah. A French horror game called Decarnation, which has
Decarnation.
it's like an adventure horror game that is also kind of like an overhead like 16-bit RPG kind of looking thing with some really fantastic music. You're like a cabaret dancer that gets abducted, and it's pretty fucked up and pretty darn good. And Alan Wake 2.
Oh,
Anthony
man,
gave me
I
a copy of
need
that. I still haven't tried it. I'm sorry.
Alan Wake or Decarnation.
Alan Wake 2.
I'm pretty sure I'm the only person that has played Decarnation. So
Alan Wake 2. I need to play more Alan Wake 2, but also we talked about this in the Discord. I totally missed that they announced a multiplayer shooter set in the world of, I guess, both Alan Wake and Control.
oh yeah,
Yes.
The same,
yes.
but it's like a team-based multiplayer shooter in the oldest house. I am now very excited for that.
Might be. We'll see.
I'm not sure
Anyway,
what to think about that.
Yeah.
Like, I want that to be good.
Yes.
I just don't know if it will be.
Yep. That is all true.
I mean, Remedy's track record over the last several years has been very good. So, but I guess this is like a thing they
They have
haven't
not
done
made
before.
a multiplayer game though
That's it.
ever.
That's the
Right.
that's the
Yes.
thing I'm concerned about.
Yeah. Could be good. I don't know. We'll find out. I mean, floating around and shooting at guys was pretty fun in Control, but
Yep.
it takes a
Hucking-
while for that to be the case. Like early on,
Hucking
it's
rocks
a
at
little boring.
people.
But
Mhm.
anyway, so let's move on to number 10. We also have a bunch of special awards that I had when I made this list. I had like a plan of how to like put it together in a way that made sense, but I don't remember that. So I'm just going to bounce back and forth and try and cram them all in before we get to number 1. So number 10 was Risk of Rain Returns, which was a
Roar.
remake of the original Risk of Rain to make the multiplayer a little bit more friendly and kind of update the graphics a little bit. It's quite good.
That doesn't say functional at all.
It is
fair,
on
yeah.
the stick corporate policy that Risk of Rain things are good, and so
Mhm.
this is good.
Soundtrack is good.
Yeah.
Pilot is great. That's the next DLC I want for Risk of Rain 2 is I want them to put pilot in Risk of Rain 2.
I'd be happy if they just fixed the DLC that they put out in 2024.
I mean, they mostly fixed it. They fixed a lot of this stuff already.
Yeah. They fixed some of, yes.
They changed most of the items. So they don't. The new items that sucked ass.
Yeah.
They changed.
We should talk about Risk of Rain Returns and not the Risk of Rain 2 DLC.
Right,
I don't know.
Which was the last thing that Hopu did before.
Yeah, we played a bunch of this during Extra Life.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's
I enjoyed it more than I recall enjoying original Risk of Rain, but it has been a long, long time since I played that. Mike is a huge fan of the original Risk of Rain.
I am, but I didn't spend a ton of time on the remake. I just kind of haven't been in the mood to play a bunch of it. But at some point, I will go back and play a bunch of Risk of Rain original, and it will actually be this version that I will play because why not? It's got more stuff.
Yep.
It has functional netcode.
Yeah, like the original game, if you wanted to play online, like we tried, you had to download like LMI Hamachi, or I don't even know if that's a thing people use anymore, but we had to download
it wasn't a thing people used then.
Software to
it was a lot of pain.
Look, times were tough.
It was
like we used it to play this, or not this, but Risk of Rain 1, and we used it to play like didn't we use that for that hacked together internet play of System Shock or System Shock 2?
Oh, System
Shock 2 worked a lot better for that.
Yeah. It did, yeah. We played through almost that whole game, I think. Didn't it break at some point and we just couldn't like
I think
anymore?
we played through about maybe half of that game. It's a long game.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's not Risk of Rain Return. This is Risk of Rain Returns.
Yes,
it's good, but it's just also like the silhouettes that they put around the characters to make it easier to see where you are. Like that was the biggest problem I had with the original was that I just would get lost in the chaos sometimes. But this version, you can see on
it's
the
much
footage
more readable.
I capped, you got this bright red outline. Every player character is a different color, and it's a lot easier to tell what the hell's going on. It's good.
You shot that crab.
I shot the shit out of that crab. Shot him right up in the air. Anyway, all right, let's see. Let's the 2023's 2022 game of the year, which I believe Joe awarded to Neon White.
Yes, right.
Which was, I think, like the game that you would have, if you had played in 2022, would have made high on your list or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would have put it up there pretty high as well.
Kurt gave it to me for Sticksmith last year, so I didn't play it until the year was over. But I really enjoyed.
Super fun.
Yeah.
If you like cards and running fast, that's your video game right there.
Parkouring and optimizing and quick reset.
Yep.
Run based, score attack.
Yeah, that is on my giant list of my ever growing giant list of games that I own and played like an hour and a half of, and then like I should go back to that someday, but I don't know if I ever will or not. Let's see, I had this award which was called the best musical number because 2023 was actually like a really weirdly amazing year for like big dance or musical sequences in games. There is one that was recreated on the Game Awards from Alan Wake 2 where Sam Lake actually got up and like did the dance and stuff from that game, which was really amazing. There was a game called Void Stranger that we'll talk about more later that had a really, really awesome, like the first kind of ending is like this really amazing musical number that kind of comes out of nowhere. El Paso Elsewhere was a third person shooter that kind of plays like Max Payne. And occasionally like there's like 80 levels in the game or whatever, and about 10 or 12 of them have like vocal tracks. But the main character is played by Xavier Nelson, who also does the rapping in the game. And so he's also like
he
voices the character, he raps, and then the raps are like rapping about what's happening to the level that you're in, which is always a fun thing. It's a great thing in 80s action movies and in video games. I don't think I'd ever seen somebody do that quite to that level before. It was really
he does it again in the game they put out this year. I Am Your Beast. He voices the main character, and in the last mission he raps.
Yeah. It's good.
With the voice of the main character while you're
it works in Control, and it continues to work. I mean, listen, nobody's ever done it as good as Control, but And then also and so my winner was Decarnation, which I mentioned earlier, is a horror game made in France where you play as your character is like a cabaret dancer kind of person that is kind of like aging out of that career. She's like in her late 20s or early 30s or whatever, and she's kind of trying to figure out what's next. And then she gets abducted, and you have all these sequences where you're kind of like remembering things that happened in the cabaret, and they got a French band to like make a bunch of original music. So it's like it goes from like these really spooky kind of ambient numbers to this really kind of upbeat like French pop music that's really good. I thought they were really effective and were like probably my favorite thing in the game. But there's some really, really good ones, especially this one that you're watching right here. So let's mosey on up back to the list, and we'll talk about number 9, coincidentally, which is Void Stranger, which I think was my number 1 or number 2.
Was your number 2?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? We have a chance to like, confront history. And
I honestly, I don't remember what my number 1 is off the top of my head.
Baldur's Gate.
I probably would have put Void Stranger at number 1 if I had to do it over again, because that is definitely the game that is stuck with me the most.
I had not played it yet before we did the Stickies. If I had, I would have rated it for sure.
Yeah, because I had to talk you and Anthony. You're like the puzzle bros.
Yeah.
Segment of our little like social group, and I worked very hard to try and get you guys to play some of this game.
Well, Anthony is down on Sokoban.
He got way deeper into it than you, but yeah, the game. Yeah, the game is it starts out as like a pretty simple Sokoban game, and then you play through to the end, and there's these like little story sequences that you run into sometimes, and you realize that the character that you're playing as was like she had like a ward that was like a princess, and there's these really like my favorite. I still think like the thing that hit me the hardest probably in the game was there's a sequence where everybody in the castle's like, oh, the princess is being a real pain in the ass today. And so then you go up to a room and then you do like a JRPG, like boss fight, like Final Fantasy style, where the art style totally changes. Yep. And it's just like the princess is just hiding under the covers of her bed, but it's just like her eyes are like out, and you have to 16-bit Final Fantasy
deal with her
fight.
Enragement.
Yes. And then you play through the Sokoban game, and there's all these weird little glitchy things and these little symbols and all these things that you can't really interact with, and then you figure out some shit.
Yeah.
And you like eventually you realize that you can use your in-game tools to say manipulate the user interface in a way that's really crazy. And it just gets crazier and crazier from there. Like the layers to this right is completely bananas. And there's I hate to even, because part of the amazing thing is playing it and seeing all the different layers that there are, but it's really something.
Would you say, if you had to compare it to a food item, is it more onion-like or is it more banana-like?
I would say that this is like a trans-dimensional chirpumple. How does that sound?
I was going to say, if you had to compare it to a dessert.
Like imagine if you were eating a chirpumple, but like you're like a 4th dimensional being, like perceiving the 6th dimension or something,
I can't imagine that because I've never heard the word trapumple before.
Well, then maybe you should play Void Stranger.
I mean, that's not true, because that was a running gag on the Action Cast. So
anyway,
was it? I don't remember.
Alex wasn't on the Action Cast.
It's the turducken of desserts.
Yes.
It's cherry, apple, and pumpkin pie baked into a cake.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Pretty good.
Okay.
Anyway, that's Void Stranger. It's one of those things where like either I can say this much about it, or I could talk about it for like 2 hours with other people that have played it, because there really is like this seems like a game that's like an hour long, and it took me like 30 hours to get to the point where I was done with it, and to like find everything on your own would probably take maybe double that. Like it's completely bananas how much, and like
I've probably
this,
put
I filled
like 35 hours
pages
into it.
Yeah, I filled like pages of notebook with like making notes and like figuring out how things work. It's completely bananas. Anyway, let's see. Let's say we'll do a special award for the game that is impossible to describe and somehow makes less sense when you actually play it, but holy shit, you should play it, which I gave to
I know this one.
which is just like
Yeah.
cube barf nonsense that is completely
hoops.
amazing, and everybody should play. It's like $3 on Steam. Even if you only play it for an hour, it is a completely worthwhile experience. Yeah.
The only way that I can really
something.
You don't necessarily
you don't need
to
drugs. You
because
just get
you'll
high on
feel
anything,
like-
man.
Yeah.
you'll feel like
it turns
you
out it
cannot.
is $15.99 now.
Is it really?
So
Yeah, I think we got it for $3 on sale.
I was gonna say, yeah, like I gave it to you because I sent it to all of you.
Yeah, you
because
sent it
was
to
like
everybody. We were just like,
$16.
just play this right
But
now.
also, the person that made it is still making it. Like they're still making levels and sending them out. And then there's like a special. What's the name? There's like a special holiday that he has.
Yeah,
That's like
There's
around
one
Christmas
day of the
where you
year
can.
where you can replay the old levels, but
Right.
otherwise, like levels you've beaten, but otherwise
Yes.
you can't play levels you've beaten.
Right.
But he's always releasing levels, so
Yeah.
there's like you're not gonna run out
Yeah,
really. Unless
it's amazing.
play a
It
shit
really
ton.
is. Yeah,
There's just play it. It's really
Yeah.
good.
it's crazy.
Mhm.
All right,
Yeah.
number 8. Oh no, actually, we need to do
Also, I'm here now. Hello.
Alex.
the most
Hi.
disappointing game of the year that is great, which is Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which I admire what this game has going on. I am in awe of the way that you can build stuff and it comes out, like the flexibility of the building system. I love that you can take 2 sticks and stick them together and make a stick. I think a lot of that stuff is really brilliant. But
And a really long
I hate
stick.
I could not play it because the idea of starting back at 0 with the stamina
Yes.
bar and the health bar from Breath of the
Breath of the
Wild
Wild.
was just so defeating for me. It was just like
Yes.
it was so demoralizing to start the
It was a
game
really
over
bad choice.
and
It was
like be dropped back into that world and just not have enough stamina to be able to climb mountains and stuff. It was really it really
Wow.
killed the game for me. Like I played like 5 or 6
Same.
hours and I made it to the bottom and I checked out the dark area underneath the main area and I was just like I can't do this again.
I can beat all of you, which is I was like,
Uh-huh.
oh, you have to start over. I'm not gonna play that.
I am the entire opposite, where I went all in and played for
Well, listen,
like
Kurt,
100
we're talking
hours and
about-
loved it.
We're talking about why this game is disappointing right now, though. You know.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, but
let's-
you're right.
in that
On the
case-
enjoyment graph of that game, the moment you touch down on the ground of Hyrule is the worst part of that game.
Yeah.
You get like the 3-hour intro, which is like all filled with new cool stuff, and you land on the ground, and it's like, all right, so you're back here, only you suck.
Yes. So
And-
we did have a tie at number 7. So the number 7 game of the year was The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
Which is great, by the way.
I've heard nice things about it. Yeah.
Great and also disappointing, as I
Yeah.
understand it.
Yeah.
Disappointingly great.
I also the
Greatly
thing where they
disappointing.
all the weapons were still made out of scotch tape and bubble gum.
Yeah, but
It
you could
didn't
literally
matter
scotch tape
nearly as
2
much.
You could literally scotch tape 2 weapons together and make a
it's true.
Long
Sword
stick, dirty
sword.
stick.
And you could slap some like monster guts on the front and do cool things with them
Right.
too.
That-
put a
I also
mushroom on your
appreciated-
shield and make it bounce projectiles back or whatever. Yeah.
Yep.
Or stick a rocket on your shield and just fly to the stars.
Yep.
Or make
All
a
of that.
wicker man with an exploding boner.
At some point, I'll play a modded version where I can just have the full stamina bar off the bat, and then I won't have to worry about that, and I'll probably have a great time with it. But
I
Yeah.
would give Nintendo $5 additional US dollars
yeah,
if
Just
they would
bring
let
my-
me import my save data from
Yes.
Breath of the Wild.
yeah, they really should have.
You can erase everything but my stamina and health, and I'm good.
Right. Or even like let me bring my climbing hat. You know, like
Yes,
there's that
just-
bandana you can wear, or you have like
Yes.
You did get to bring your
climbing
horses
You-
over.
Eric, you don't need the climbing hat because you can stick a rocket on your shield.
I guess,
You don't need to climb
get a
anything
rocket
anymore.
right off the bat. You know?
They give you they give you the ascent room. You can literally float through the ceiling of any room that you're in.
Yeah.
I guess
It's
I like
actually really
climbing the mountains. That was fun.
Well, I know, but that's a different game.
Also
That was
have a ceiling above you to use the Ascend rune, right?
That was Breath of the Wild, which is a game about climbing mountains, and it was great.
Mhm.
This is Tears of the Kingdom, which is a game about building stuff and making goofy contraptions, and it is also great. It is basically a giant expansion pack for Breath of the Wild, and I don't think anyone should deny that. But like it crams so much new stuff in it.
Giant expansion pack.
Yeah, and it's got so much new cool stuff in it that I personally spent maybe 60 hours playing the game and only did the new cool stuff, and it was great. Like every one of the dungeons, they all had these really cool lead up sections to them, and then the dungeons were cool, and the bosses were actually kind of good. There's just tons of handcrafted, really neat stuff in this game. It is spread around a map that you know, and it all really sucks when you land on the ground and you have to just run around for the first couple hours getting some stamina back. But
anyway,
it's
I know,
really
he's not here, but our friend Anthony played through it with his 2 little girls, and listening.
He played by himself and with his little girls.
Right. The most joy I got out of it was listening to him talk about like them journaling their like way through the game. Like he would send us pictures. Well, they like one of them, I can't remember if it was the oldest one or the middle one, but she would like draw pictures, and she had like a journal that she was like making of like what they were doing and what they were going to do next. Like she was planning out what they were doing, and that stuff was all really amazing. So anyway,
turns out when you're old, exploring a giant game is exhausting and you don't even buy it. But if you're a kid, you're like, fuck yeah, dude.
Fuck yeah, let's do this.
The resident Final Fantasy 14 player is telling us that it's exhausting to explore a giant game.
It's a special award that I believe Joe handed out for
exploring in that game. Okay,
the thing that against all odd remains fun 1 year later. Now we can maybe even throw in
so
2 years later,
spoilers,
which
2
is
years later.
Vampire Survivors.
I mean, dude, what can I say about Vampire Survivors?
Added more stuff.
They added more stuff. Actually, the Castlevania DLC like doubles the size of the game, basically.
Yeah.
There's only one stage, but it's one huge stage with a ton of stuff to find.
What is this? This was the Among Us.
This was the and the Among Us stuff was fine. The Contra stuff I really liked, but the Castlevania DLC was like,
that's what we all
again
wanted.
it just like super really added so much more stuff to the game. And yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's like I understand that I'm like a fucking rat at a feeder bar just watching number go brrr in Vampire Survivors, but like I still like it. I mean, and also like it. So now I'm at a point where like about 5 minutes into a run, I can basically become like an unstoppable force of nature. But when you start playing the game, it isn't like that. It actually is like pretty hard at the beginning when you have nothing, right? And so it's still hard. But you know, yeah, I mean, it's just like more characters with more weird weapons and number go brr. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
The number goes
I mean, it did inspire a whole genre. I mean, it's not the first, but it basically inspired a whole genre full of games that now exist, right?
The game that it
Doom
ripped
wasn't
off
the
was
first
called
first-person
Magic
shooter.
Survivor. I always bring this up whenever we talk about it, but there was an iOS game called Magic Survivor. The Vampire Survivors ripped off pretty hard, but Vampire Survivors was definitely the one that blew up and inspired the bullet heaven genre or whatever we're calling it these days. But man, there's a fucking million of those on Steam right now.
I always bring up whenever we bring this up, which is that the problem with Vampire Survivors is that there are better games than Vampire Survivors in that same genre. So now it's like Vampire Survivors kicks ass, but when you go back and play it, it's like, oh, this is all there is. And it's like,
well, look, there's some new games where you actually have to do stuff, but I don't know if that's the same thing.
That's the disconnect, is that in this one you just walk. Everything else just happens.
Yeah.
But in other games you have to do things where you're more active, and people who really still like Vampire Survivors the most are like, no, but that's what's cool, is that all I do is walk. And it's like, but
anyway,
if I want to do something.
It's still good. It was still good 1 year later. If I had time, I could change that to say 2 years.
It's still good.
But
It's
I don't know.
still
We'll
good.
see. We'll see if the 2024 Sticky awards. Maybe I'll get another award. I gave out the That Belongs in a Museum award for the Karateka collection that what's the name of that company? Digital Eclipse.
Digital Eclipse.
And they had already done that really amazing Atari 50 collection, and then now this year they have
Tetris.
There's that Tetris.
Jeff Minter and
the Jeff Minter one came out earlier this year. Yeah. But this Karateka one, they talked to George Mechner and they got a bunch of like his design documents and like a bunch of footage. Like I think there's like actual footage that he used to do the rotoscoping for the animation and
of
stuff.
his brother.
There's all kinds of you can see his brother climbing on the car right there. But I'm so glad that Digital Eclipse is out there doing this shit, making these like video game coffee table books. I don't remember who said that the first time. But that's exactly what these are, and they're perfect. I'm glad somebody's out there doing that. Let's talk about our other number 7 game. Go back to the list, which was a Highland song, which I believe was my number 3 and might have hit on Kurt's personal list.
Yeah, it was on yours and my lists.
Yeah.
And I wound up playing it afterwards.
Yeah. Well, how'd you like it, Mike?
I liked it. I don't think it got me quite to the same level that it got you, but I had a very fine couple of days exploring the Highland Mountains. I really did enjoy the fact that the game it gives you a lot of rope, like you're just out there and you kind of don't know if you're going the right way, you don't know if you're doing the right thing. And so I enjoyed that part to it.
Did you like the music?
Obviously, I have a very funny relationship to the music in this
That's
game.
Why I'm curious, because you actually know a lot about that kind of music. So
yeah, I mean the music in this game is made by these really good musicians from Scotland, but it's very modern approach what they do to traditional music. Super clean, super fast, and you get into these segments where you're running across a ridge and there's like a deer that you're chasing, and you're playing this little rhythm game, tapping the buttons to all the different hits in the music, and it's just very funny for me because that's basically just like learning an arrangement when you're accompanying musicians. Like, all right, when you get here you got to go da 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 da, and it's like, all right, you guys have turned accompanying trad in modern band setting into a rhythm game. So I mean, great. It was nice. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the game more when it was just being beautiful and scenic like now, and you're trying to logic your way through the different areas, and you're like looking in the background like, is that a house, like is that a farm, or is that like
how do I get there?
It's got aesthetics for days.
Yep.
It
great
really
voices.
captures a sense of place.
Yes,
incredible voice acting.
Incredible.
Yeah, great voice acting.
Yep.
It's on my wish list. I loved 80 Days.
Yeah,
So, 80 Days is great.
When you get the double jump,
I think I like this more than 80 Days, but also I love to hike, and I love to climb mountains, and so they made this game
created
specifically for
Eric.
me. Yeah, and it turns out that I really liked it. So I played through it 3 or 4 different times. Like it's basically impossible to see the whole map like in one go. And the way that
you are on a timer in theory.
Yeah, you're supposed to you're a little girl that was adopted by a family, and you have an uncle that lives on a lighthouse on the northern shore of Scotland or whatever. And you're trying to traverse the Highlands to meet up with him, and you're going up and down all these mountains.
You're basically running off and making your way in the world because
you're supposed to meet him there, but I can't remember what the name of the holiday is, but it's if you make it to him by a specific point, you some stuff happens. But also the game doesn't really punish you.
But it's not a fail state.
Right. But there are fail you can literally freeze to death.
There's not a fail state for when you get there yet.
Yes.
You can die.
Yeah, but and so you find all these little notes too, right, that show you what the different mountains are and open up different paths, and so that stuff you bring with you if you fail or succeed. So when you start the game over again, you have access to more routes and more places to explore and stuff. I think it's really cool.
Oh, I didn't know you could New Game Plus.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yep. Because
there's little vignettes.
If you just run for it, or if you just run for the end, you can finish it in a couple of hours. All right, let's see what else have we got. Oh, we have an award for the best fish of 2023.
Be more specific?
The best fish, like the dusky grouper or the oarfish or the sea perch. I forgot to.
Well, are we talking fish plural? Are you saying the best fish is?
Yeah. What's your favorite fish?
I like the yellowfin tuna at the bottom left there.
I could spit this out to Discord too. I forgot to do that, but there, check it out if you want. Yeah, so we had the yellowfin tuna, leafy seahorse, the anchovy. Because there was a lot.
It was
of
a good year for fish.
There was a lot of fish stuff going on in 2023.
Yep.
The Arctic
The
telescope
helicopter
fish.
needs to go see a dentist.
I actually think we gave it to yellowfin tuna. I think that was.
Look at that face.
I mean, that's a good face. That's a good fish. It's like it's a good fish in the game and a good fish in real life. You know, you can do all kinds of stuff with it.
Yeah.
And then we also had another award for best fish.
Yeah, for all the aberrations and shit.
the vortex interloper, the bearded mackerel, the all-seeing cod, the gnashing perch, the anchovy king, which is very.
I like
good.
the anchovy king.
I like the anchovy king as well.
I like anchovy king. I like all-seeing cod also. Just the idea of like an omniscient codfish with a giant fucking eye is good.
I mean, the anchovy king though is a biblically accurate anchovy, so I think that's.
Oh boy, I forgot how creepy the defaced skate is. Ugh.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yep.
It's pretty gruesome.
Yep.
It's
They
like
did a good
the
job
face
making
is
some really
under
ugly
the bone
fish.
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
These are all.
These are all from Dredge.
Right?
Yeah.
The first
other
page
one
had
is
some
Dredge
from
and
Dave the Diver.
Dave the Diver. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil anything, but some of these fish are in Dave the Diver now.
Does that mean? Yeah. Does that mean that Godzilla is a fish because he's in Dave the Diver now? Because then I'd say Godzilla.
Can you catch
is
Godzilla? I mean, I don't think Godzilla is.
I don't know how it works. I didn't play Dave the Diver. I just know
mean, there's lots of
Godzilla.
things that live in the ocean and aren't not fish. So let's
True.
see. All right.
Name one.
Speaking of,
Yeah.
hey, our number 6 game from 2023 is Dredge.
Dredge.
Yeah, man, I love this game.
Me
Can
too.
I briefly interject real quick
My number
about
2.
Dredge?
Sure,
Yeah.
as long as it's
I'm-
positive, because it's the
I'm-
6th best
I'm
game of
me.
2023.
I'm
Yeah.
me.
It's true.
I
You
don't
are
like
you.
This. I don't like this kind of game.
Yeah.
I liked Dredge.
Okay. Well, there you go. That's the
Done.
highest praise.
Sold.
That's the highest praise ever.
Yeah. Dredge was really good, and I don't like this shit. That's what I'm saying. This is the kind of thing.
Yeah,
where
this
I go,
seems like something Alex would be like, fuck this.
This is the kind of thing where Kurt would be like, "Dude, this game's really good." I'd be like, "I'm not gonna play that."
I'm not playing that shit.
Why
I'd be
did you
like,
play it?
great vibe,
what
man.
convinced you to play it?
I don't remember.
Mike
but
sent
I
it to you.
did
I
play
think somebody sent it to you for.
Did someone give it to you for
Sixmas, didn't they?
Sixmas? Yeah.
Oh, maybe.
That
Partially as
sounds
a
correct,
joke because of how
actually,
much you hated Subnautica.
This game. Okay, let me briefly speak on that. This
No,
game
we
is
don't know.
8,000 times.
We don't need
the
to
game.
do the Subnautica bit again.
We don't need to relitigate. this.
Anyway, so
That's all there is to say. It's
so
way better
yeah,
than
Dredge
Subnautica.
is it's a game where you float around and fish, but also sometimes the fish are Lovecraftian
Lovecraftian
nightmares.
or-
Sometimes that light coming at your ship in the night turns out to be a giant lanternfish that eats your boat.
Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just you going insane.
But it's mostly actually like really relaxing.
For the most
Yeah,
part.
If
when
you
you're
play
not
this
going
game for
insane. Yeah,
15, 20 hours, like I would say like 90% of the time you're just like, yeah, I'm cruising around the ocean.
cruising
Getting
around
some
the
little
ocean.
fish.
I'm fishing. I'm
There's
pulling
some
up some
like
fish.
cute little stories, right? There's like some
I
people.
have a guy that wants a book from me.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
just like a weird.
I waited
hooded
too long and now
cultist
he's dead.
That wants a mackerel or whatever. Give him
Yep.
some mackerel.
Your guy died from not getting the book?
No, there were some quests where if you didn't return quickly enough, the person was like, I need a fish, and if you didn't bring it fast enough, they would die.
Oh, right.
But I think they patched that.
I really keep wanting to go back and play this game again. It's gotten one small and one, I think, kind of big piece of DLC since it came out.
Yeah.
Like one of them is just like an extra area. Like there's 4 main areas in the game. One of the DLC adds a 5th, and then the other one is something called it's like an oil platform. It's the rig or
Iron
something
rig,
like that.
yeah.
Which I guess is like, I don't know, a whole other, I don't know if it's like a town kind of area or what. I'm curious to see that. But yeah, I just really love cruising around on the boat, just the sounds, the sights, oh wow.
And they did a nice job of having some variety in the fishing minigame.
Mm-hmm.
They don't suck.
Inventory Tetris.
That's probably the reason why Alex likes this game.
I was about to say
Enjoy
exactly.
Enjoy
That.
Tetris?
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of it. It was mostly just the like, hey, you know what? Fishing is actually kind of
And it feels good to drive the
There's
boat
a
too.
good gameplay loop
Yeah.
of
Yep.
like it's daytime. I'm gonna go fish and I'm gonna get these supplies and then
Oh shit!
I'm
I gotta
starting
get
to go
back.
crazy. I can't go too far. I'll
Yeah.
go
Build
back.
up my boat.
and
I'm gonna go back and sell some stuff.
And it's
I'll
not
rest
do
too
up.
that
too
enough
punishing if
times,
you
beat the
die.
quests.
You don't
Yeah,
have
and
to
then
redo
you
stuff.
like move
Yeah.
on to the next. I'm gonna go to the next island.
And it's a nice.
Yeah,
It's a
none of
nice
the
place
islands
to
over.
explore as well.
None of the areas overstay their welcome too long. You
yeah.
spend a little bit of time. You find some stuff. They're differentiated from each other nicely. Yep.
Weirdly, I would describe this as a cozy game.
Yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
would agree with
I
that.
would.
It's
I
like
would
cozy
agree.
horror.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, bundle up and cruise around and catch some fish. And eventually you realize that it's mostly not very dangerous. And in fact, you can just kind of do whatever you want. Stay out all night. Don't sleep for 3 days. Just ignore the monsters. It's fine.
Once you upgrade your boat enough, for sure. All right, let's see. Let's go jump back into the special award category, and we'll give the Polyglot Codebreaker Game of the Year to Chance of Sonar, which I think Kurt came up with this award.
That was my award. Given that you had to break 3 different languages
Only
along
3?
the course of the game, I think it's 3. Is it 4?
4 or
It's
5.
3
I
or
think.
4. One for each level.
I guess
There's
it's
3
4.
different casts,
Right, and then there's one that's like
and then there's one that's the top. Yeah, so it's 4.
right.
But interestingly, you sort of cross-reference things from different levels to help you break stuff. So it's each one builds on the other one, and then you're sometimes jumping levels to extrapolate what things are.
Yeah.
So if that kind of thing is your jam, like this does that quite a bit.
Yeah, the biggest problem this
the
had,
primary thing you do.
Yeah, I really the stealth stuff in this game really hurt it for me.
Yeah,
and then
that's
also
not great.
Void Stranger, I got my hands on that, and I just kind of like forgot Chance of Sonar
You just got
existed,
sucked
which
in.
isn't fair
Yeah.
because Chance of Sonar is really really good and really clever too. But
Yep.
that's a good game.
It's not very
If-
long.
If you like detect 'em ups, you should definitely give it a try. Like
Oh,
in,
for
in
sure.
the realm, in my mind, it slots in alongside Oberdin and
Yep.
Golden Idol.
Yep.
Fill in the blank, detect 'em ups.
Let's see. Oh, how about the best little goody two shoes mini game, which I talked about this a little bit, but the like overall.
We
what
watched
this
you
game
do a
is,
bunch of this.
But so one of the game is like
Kiss
it's like
the rat.
structured on a day-to-day thing in this little Bavarian village, and your girl is like she was like an orphan, and then the person that adopted you dies, and so you're like doing chores around the little village to like help people out to get money in order to like buy food and stay alive. And the chores that you do are all these little mini games that are like a little like Game Boy handheld, and they all have these like cute little songs, and they're like all like one button games, but they have these. I don't know. It was just a really cute little thing that happens when you talk to people. And I don't know. I don't remember which one was my favorite. I remember the log cutting one being quite fun. So I guess we'll give that one the winner. But the winner is everyone that got to play Little Goody Two Shoes, because that's really a weird, clever little game.
These are normally presented one at a time.
Yeah, you like sometimes it's like the game is like split up into like morning, afternoon, night time. And if you need money, you can go talk to, like, there's a lady that has eggs. And so if you do her chore, then you do the Chicken Frenzy one and do the egg collecting game. Or there's like a lady with an orchard. So if you want to help her out, you play the apple collecting game. Or like sometimes you're supposed to babysit kids, and that's when you play Kiss the Rat with the kids, which they throw a dead rat at you and you have to like hit it back to them.
Poor rat! Look at
Yeah.
that thing.
Yeah, look at me hit that
It's a
rat.
real volley you got going on.
Is the Raining Apples one just Kaboom? Because
It's
that's
just
what it looks
Kaboom, pretty
like.
much, yeah.
Okay.
But Kaboom is not
At the
Kaboom
end, though-
unless you have a paddle controller, so...
Right. Right.
Also, I love the little art. There's all these great little pieces of art that you get when you finish the mini game or fail them. Anyway, that's a cool little game. What else here? How about the most disappointing thing that could have been great? Oh, this is the most disappointing thing that could have been great. This is AEW's Fight Forever, which was the like Aki style wrestling game that came out based on AEW that just wasn't actually what people wanted. It was
Yeah,
more
it
like
wasn't
SmackDown
actually.
and less like WrestleMania 2000 or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yes, which makes sense because Ukes actually developed it, but
Right.
also it just is not a very good looking game.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't super
It would have
duper
been
care about that.
It would have
but-
been better if they'd made it look more like a Nintendo 64 game
right. Yeah, right.
instead of just like a up-res PlayStation 2 game.
Yeah. Basically.
Yeah. All right, let's go back up to the list. Let's talk about number 5. We'll dive back down into the ocean, into the depths with the little Dave the Diver.
David
Heck
Diver.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mike's
Dave
number
the Diver. It was my number one game. I mean, in retrospect, I had a really good time with it. It just made me happy, kind of the whole time.
I agree.
It's a little bit slow at times, but it's just so filled with charm from this tiny, darling indie studio. Maybe you've heard of them.
Tencent?
It's Nexon. They're like super duper gigantic studio, but they I don't know, they had a team that decided to make this, and it's just jammed with like amazing pixel art, incredible cutscenes, like endless mechanics. Like every hour there's like a new mechanic unveiled.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Some would say maybe too many, but
Every cutscene where the chef does his thing makes me smile.
that's good.
They're so good.
They're all so good. He's just
They're so good.
It's so filled with drama and so fun.
Disappointing like translation. They at the same time kind of charming in its clunkiness, but rougher than it needed to be. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it was just a good, again, cozy. Just like I love the ocean.
Fun to swim around in the ocean for sure.
Yep.
I love that Dave is based on a real person who was like kind of like somewhat heroic diver guy who died in real life. Sorry, too bad.
Listen, we're all gonna die in real life.
Yes, well, he did die in more tragic kind of diving accident-y kind of way, but
They give you lots of different tools. You gotta approach different fish different
Check out this
ways.
whale.
there's some great music.
That all looks fun. You got a great whale.
Tons of
Yes.
like secret stuff, like things you know, fish that you can only find under certain conditions. One time I dove down and everything was like covered in really like weird kelp, and they were different fish, and that never happened to me again in like 30 hours. I was like, well, I want to
That's
catch
cool.
those fish.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I think in another year this wouldn't have managed to make number one, but it did delight me for a really long time.
Yeah.
Yep.
That
Give me a little slow at times.
My biggest
will
problem
admit.
with it was just that it like I really loved like the first 15 hours of it, and then I got to hour like 22 or something. I was like, man, this is a lot longer than I thought. And then I looked up how long it actually was, and I was like, oh, I'm not gonna finish this.
It's a long game.
But I had a lot of fun with it. Like you
Yeah.
said, just swimming around, shooting fish, finding shotguns, and blasting sharks and stuff was just a good time.
Mhm.
Like
one
mechanically, it
point-
feels really good.
Yeah.
The swimming and the
the
twin stick aiming and
Yeah,
stuff
the
like that.
yeah,
It's
the
all
controls are spot on.
good. Yeah.
And it's just like so surprising and charming. Like you got this kind of anime otaku weapon guy who makes you stuff, and then at one point, like just between 2 days, you just teleport into this guy's brain during a dream sequence, and then you're playing like a rhythm game as he goes to some like virtual idol concert, and you're just like playing a rhythm game where you're like swinging
You're just
glow
like,
sticks
what
around.
the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was fun.
It's
It was a
good.
cool game.
Quite good. All right, let's see. We'll give out the award for the best cat of 2023, which was Admiral from A Space for the Unbound.
Good cat.
Was a good cat. I don't know. I don't think did any of you guys play any of that
No.
game? Probably not.
I don't even know what it is.
It's like a side-scrolling point-and-click adventure game set I think in Indonesia, and you play as this kid that he's like friends with this little girl who's kind of been abandoned by her family, and she likes to draw, and so she's like drawing comics, and you're kind of something bad happens, and then you're kind of like pulled into like these like stacked alternate realities that she's trying to create to prevent the bad thing from happening. And it starts out like you're just going to school and things are pretty mundane, and then within a few hours things like get like fucked up and weird, and it doesn't get like like full on like grotesque or horror or anything. It's a little bit more like a Miyazaki kind of a thing. But it was pretty emotionally pretty strong, I thought, and the writing is all really good. It's another game that's probably a little longer than it needed to be, but I had a really good time with it. And Admiral is an A+ cat. Let's see. Let's do should we go to number 4? Number 4, which is Baldur's Gate 3, which is the game that I apparently will never stop playing.
Yep.
I remember
I played it.
Originally, I said y'all were crazy for being as low as 4, and I'm still right.
Well, I think at the time,
it's
nobody
number
else
1
had really
for Eric.
played it too much. Like we had.
It was number 3 for Joe.
Right, Mike hadn't played
like
it. And
8 for Mike.
That much because he's not a big.
I put an 8th on my list, and if I had to redo my list now, it would be lower. And I hadn't played it yet.
Yeah.
Right. So Mike's insane, and everyone else.
I don't know. It's fine. I think that it is mechanically like, in some ways, it is way the best mechanical PC RPG that I've ever played, and in other ways, it feels like I would rather be playing Divinity Original Sin 3. Like, I appreciate the amount of time that they put into like expanding the number of classes and expanding the number of like ways to interact with the world and all that stuff. The role playing stuff aspect of this game is incredible, but I also I miss the wild alchemical reaction stuff of Divinity. Like it doesn't have that explosive thing that Divinity Original Sin 2 had, and I found myself
literally and figuratively.
That. Yeah, the cast of characters is fantastic, but the plot kind of runs out of juice about 2/3 of the way through for me. I actually still haven't finished this game, although Kurt, Alex, Anthony, and I are all playing it multiplayer. We've just returned to it after having played Shadow of the Erd Tree, and I don't know, it's really great. I'm so fucking happy that Baldur's Gate 3 exists and came out and was good and was a huge, ginormous, insane hit, which means that Larian will just get to make whatever they want until they don't want to make games anymore, probably. That's how big of a hit it was. And so I like all that stuff is really great. Yeah. Also watch Anthony pushed this guy into the boat. He just fucking pushed him into the water. Like there's a barbarian build that I've been playing, which is just you pick people up and throw them.
He never gets tired of throwing dudes.
It's spectacular, right? It's like a minor variation of the barbarian, like a minor subclass for barbarian, but it's super duper fun to pick guys up and throw them into other guys and reposition.
Never gets old. There was I was over halfway through the game before I realized, wait a minute, I could pick up a skeleton and throw it into another skeleton.
Yeah, or off a ledge.
So dumb.
Or into an explosive barrel. Or
I push people off ledges and stuff like that, but just the idea of wait a minute, I could just pick up a dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's never not amusing when Eric picks them up and you see the little ghostly outline of them struggling to get away.
Yeah.
Yep.
While he's holding them going,
Also, the jumping mechanic, which is tied to strength, is incredible. The distance you can jump when you get to strength to
last
20
weekend,
is completely bananas.
Eric got some potion that let him jump 10x or whatever, and we watched him shoot off like a rocket. It was very good.
All right, let's dip back into the special awards. We got More of a Good Thing, which Kurt gave to the Talos Principle 2, which I assume is more of the Talos Principle.
Yep. Hey, the Talos Principle? This is more of that.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
Okay. It's like a puzzle game, right?
It is a puzzle game, yeah.
3D first person moving blocks around and stuff. I never played too much of the first one.
It's not like a block pusher a Sokoban like thing. It's more
redirecting lasers and things.
Yeah, redirecting lasers and using various tools to do things with lasers and fans and
little portal-ish.
Yeah, portal-like things and moving platforms, and it's making Rube Goldberg devices to solve puzzles. The first game had
a thing where you could record yourself, and then replay that while you did stuff. So it's like, okay, I'm going to record myself like pushing this button and then standing on this switch, so that I can then go through, you'll push the button, the door will disappear, and then stand on the switch to make this other thing happen. But you can't do both at the same time, so you have to record yourself doing both of those things with the right timing, so that you have time to like run through, stand on the thing, pick up the other thing, whatever.
Yeah.
The Talos Principle 2 did away with that thing, because I think that created a lot of problems for people. But they added some other stuff. Like there's one thing where like you have tools, but you have to swap. Like there's essentially like a bank, and so you're like, oh, here's this thing I need, but I have to leave one of my tools behind to take this one.
Yeah.
And so then it's like, all right, which two of these do I need right now? And then that one gives me this, and da da da. So it just gets more and more sort of complex problem space to solve.
If I wanted to play one of these, should I start with the first one, or would it be better just playing the second one?
I think you would be fine with either one.
Okay.
The Road to Gehenna, which is the DLC for the first one, is orders of magnitude harder than other stuff that's in there.
Okay.
But it's only when you get pretty late in the first one that things start to get pretty mind-bending, that you may run into some walls. But
okay.
I think either one.
They're both on my list, my giant list of things I would like
playable.
To play sometime.
Yeah.
My understanding is the first one's a lot shorter than the second one.
Yeah, that's true.
Is it? Okay. All right. Well,
and there's a ton of philosophical horseshit around the nature of consciousness and free will and all that kind of stuff, because
sometimes.
Yeah, and it's good for a while, then you're like, yeah, okay, whatever. So if you're into that, that's also a thing where because the characters are all robots.
Yeah.
Like post-apocalyptic robot type things, and you're in a simulation, so it's like, why are we doing this? What's the point? What is happening? And all that stuff. So,
all right. Let's see. The best game until playing it. The best game is great, except when you actually have to play the levels. Winner ? I don't. This must be a Kaizo hack, Mike.
It is, yes.
I don't remember what.
I have not played nearly as much Kaizo this year as I did the year before and before that. Grand Poo World 3 was the third game by Barbarous King, or Barbarian as it says on the screen there, but mostly people just call him Barb. And his games are known for really pushing the envelope and having like all sorts of weird, unexpected stuff in them. And I love that stuff, and I want to experience that stuff, but it's really fucking hard. Like the levels are all so difficult. Grand Poo World 2 is the most difficult Kaizo hack that I played, and it took me like 75 hours, and that's a lot of time. And so this one came out, and I was like, oh well, finally my chance to, I guess, like see what the fuss is about. And it's filled with cool stuff. Like when you download these hacks, it says like how many levels are there, and it said 3, which is a pretty small number, right? And you get to the end of the third level, and there you go, you get the credits, right? It's like, all right. But if you keep reading and you find a secret message at the end of the credits, and it points you to like a hidden area in one of the previous levels you wouldn't have found otherwise, and then you go through and that takes you to another path, and then there's all sorts of weird stuff happening, and then like I don't mind telling you guys, you get an airship after like 7 levels, and then like the map opens up and you can go to like 4 or 5 different sub maps, which is not a thing in Kaizo hacks. Like it's so. The second Grand Poo World 2 ended with like an escape room puzzle that took people like 8 hours to solve. And as far as I'm aware, this game also ends with something along those lines. But I never got there because that would have involved playing all these really difficult levels. And I just kind of lost my taste for playing really hard levels. I think shortly after spending time on this game, and so I haven't really gone back to it.
Okay.
But
the Void Stranger of Kaizo hacks.
I guess so. There's a lot of Void Strangers of Kaizo hacks, I think, but
yeah,
I don't know.
It's cool.
Right.
I think
that's cool.
Maybe.
Let's see. Let's move up. Do we do number 3? No, number 3, Pikmin 4. Oh man.
Yeah, hell yeah!
I remember Pikmin 4.
Pikmin, that was my number 1.
Yeah,
I stand by that.
I think this was in my top 5. I don't remember.
But
it's really good. Yeah, I played this right at the end of the year.
4th. Yeah.
I think Mike had it
yeah.
on his list too.
I
enjoyed
love the
a lot.
Pikmin games. I thought we'd never get another one. It was 10 years between 3 and 4.
Really?
Yeah, and they did a great job. They added a very good dog who
They had an
expands
incredible dog. Yes,
an incredible dog. I don't know that. I mean, the game is good.
Owachi for
excluding
best
the
fish.
dog, but yeah, but Owachi just adds a whole other set of things, and it never gets old. Like getting all your Pikmin onto the back of the dog and then going and slamming into something and launching all your Pikmin in one big, strike on a big boss.
Yep.
It is never not fun to do that.
True. Also, a lot of cool new Pikmin. I played Pikmin 1 and then never played a Pikmin game again until this. So there's so many new like Pikmin and
there's
Pikmin
new ones for
and
this, but if
I
you
don't
hadn't
know
played
what's-
since 1, then there's a lot more.
Yeah, I don't know what's new between 2.
Yeah, you
3
had
and 4,
the rock ones and the.
Almost all the Pikmin were in one of the other games
Yeah.
Were they?
previous to this.
But the levels are really clever. There's a lot of interesting areas to explore and shortcuts to do and all this kind of stuff. And they also give you like underground areas that you go to that are more focused, sort of attacks, kind of like closer to original Pikmin of just like, all right, here's this little puzzle to just work your way through. And
I really like. Sorry.
You have a fixed set of Pikmin that you do and just work through that puzzle, so it's a nice bite-size thing.
That's what I was gonna say. I like those levels. I like the way that they mix that up, right? And that you find those by exploring the larger levels and it's good. Yeah.
This game is enormous. There's so much stuff in this game. There's so many alternate modes that you can unlock and play through as you keep going.
Yeah, when you get finished, there's a whole second storyline that you can do with,
and like then a third, isn't there?
That's more like original Pikmin, without all
the night missions
stuff. Yeah, the night
totally
missions
different.
Are very cool. They work totally differently.
Tower
that's more like a
defense-y,
tower defense-y kind of thing. Yeah.
The size of the game did kind of work against me because I went a super duper long time before finding the onion for the blue Pikmin. And so I was starting to get really frustrated at some point. I was like, I can't do anything.
Yeah. I think I only played through like the main set of missions and then a little bit of the Olimar stuff, and that still took me like 20 some hours.
Yeah.
And that was enough, but yeah, it's super duper fun. Especially like you said, like just the riding the dog and smacking into guys and throwing all the Pikmin on them all at once was incredible. What an incredible thing. All right, let's see. We're almost done here. We're making pretty good time. The unique mechanic of the year, which was for a puzzle game called Viewfinder, which I don't think made any of our top 10 lists, but mostly because the writing in the game is quite bad.
The writing was
and quite
really
tedious.
bad.
Yeah, but the puzzle mechanic, if you had just made it like a silent, like the Witness kind of style game where there wasn't a lot of that and you were just solving the puzzles, I actually, this probably almost certainly would have made my top 10. Like that's how much I didn't enjoy the writing, but this thing is
so bad.
It's like actively bad in a way that hurts the game. But this mechanic of taking pictures and like messing with perspective and stuff, I thought was really incredible.
Yeah,
It hurts
it's
my
really,
brain
really
to
clever.
watch this video.
Yeah.
What is happening?
It's
At some
Yeah,
point
they
they give you a
didn't show the one.
photocopier.
Oh, there it is. When you turn the
people
turn
have
the picture sideways and stuff falls off of it.
Yeah. There's some other games that kind of mess with perspective like this, but I don't think there's ever been one that does it quite to the extent that Viewfinder does.
Yeah, I agree.
Or like Goragoga has some of that stuff, but that's like 2D, so it doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still an awesome game, and
it's more like a puzzle box.
So,
yeah.
It definitely
That's
feels
no
like a
way.
magic trick sometimes when you solve a puzzle in this game.
All right, let's see. Let's jump back to number 2. Our number 2 game of the year, which is Super Mario Brothers Wonder.
Oh yeah,
Which I think we just all liked. I think this is like in our top, like in everybody's top 3 or 4 or whatever.
Joe's 2, Mike's 3. You're like 6, and my
cool
like
ass game.
8.
Yeah, it's so cool. Hey, you know what's great? Elephant Mario.
Elephant Mario is
The
fantastic.
fact that all the tracks in the game have like a tuba backing track that they put in when you play as the elephant is really incredible. And I honestly like the new Super Mario Brothers games are all okay. They're all like various levels of okay, but they all, in my opinion, kind of lack the creativity of a Super Mario 3 or Super Mario World.
Yeah.
And like all of that stuff kind of went into the 3D games, like Mario Galaxy, Mario 3D Land, Mario Odyssey. Like those were the Mario games I liked. And the new Super Mario Brothers games were always kind of also rans, and it was just really exciting for Nintendo to go back and kind of put that
go crazy,
real crazy creativity into a 2D Mario game again.
Yeah, and then put things in levels like, all right, we're going to activate the wonder in this level, and you're never going to see anything like this in the rest of the game.
Yep.
Yeah, putting a tab of acid in the middle of every level was really forward thinking.
Yeah.
I think,
hey, let's turn everybody into really long skeletons.
I fucked up. I forgot. I should have fixed because I forgot to put this level into the musical number of the year category because
let's have the Piranha Plant sing a song.
Yeah. It should have been a top 5 list of the top 5 musical numbers of 2023 because the singing Piranha Plants it's like one of the first things they showed in the trailer, and it is one of the best things in the game, but it made me so happy. I did it multiple times just because I enjoyed listening to the song and running through the Piranha Plants, and it just gets weirder from there. Honestly, like there's like the super duper like tall skinny.
That's the thing.
Silhouette
right?
Mario, and
it's weird in a way that 2D Mario isn't anymore.
Yeah,
and you don't have like, why does this thing exist? Who cares?
Yep.
It does this. Go use it.
Yep.
That hadn't been there for a long time, as you said. So
it's just
I don't remember if I'd compiled this list. This list no, I don't remember. I guess, but we like the multiplayer. I did not love. Since this is multiplayer footage, like I didn't love the way that everybody's kind of a ghost and you can't really like do anything.
It doesn't have the chaos of playing New Super Mario Brothers with people.
Apparently the local does, but you have to play local for that to be a thing. Otherwise it's...
Well, we should have tried that then. I didn't realize it was different.
I was going to say, like, what were we doing at Extra Life?
I mean,
this game is
at Extra Life, so
this game is so full of ideas, and I'm actually kind of waiting for, like, how Mario stuff shows up in a game and then it's just become rolled into this like 35-year tradition of like, oh yeah, Mario games got this in it because back in one of the games they did this, and now it's just in every third Mario game has it. This game introduces so much stuff, so many cool ideas. I think we're going to be like feasting on these ideas for like the next 6 Mario games.
I hope so.
I think a lot of the stuff goes in this game.
I mean,
I hope so.
There's so many ideas that there's probably something, but there's also shit that they do once and then they're just like,
Or sometimes
they do it once in this game.
Sometimes it takes a really long time, though, right? Like, Karibo's shoe was only in that one stage of Mario 3 until they brought it back in Mario 3D World.
Yeah, and Mario Maker.
Yeah, Mario Maker had, like, all the stuff, right? But, I don't... Actually, here's a weird confession. I still haven't finished this game. I'm on the last world, and I just never... I got to the last world, and for whatever reason, just... kind of petered out on it. I should go back to it because I'm literally like at the precipice of finishing it. And I did all of the special stages like through as far as I got into the game. Like I went back and found all the special stages in the previous worlds, which honestly, those are kind of the best part. I mean, the whole game is great, but those super challenging stages, I feel like you can kind of judge a Mario game by their like super challenging end game stuff or special stages, and this one has some really good ones.
Mm-hmm. Like it does secret kind of levels. You mean?
Yeah.
I mean, this is a Mario Brothers game that has like rhythm challenges in it and stuff. Like there's all kinds of bananas stuff in here. They're not all winners, but there's enough that it's great. I don't know. I mean, actually,
I'd rather have them throw a shitload of stuff at the wall and have half of it hit than play it safe.
Yep. Like
Also,
I said,
look how good this game
it
looks.
looks amazing.
Yeah.
It looks so good. It's a Switch game. It's in 2D, but it looks fantastic.
Well, sitting here on
But
January
this is
15th,
Switch.
2025, it seems like all the rumors are saying that maybe sometime in the next week or so we're going to get some Switch 2 stuff finally for real.
Well, didn't they say it's coming out this year already? Like that.
That's
That's been
supposedly
happening every year for the past 3 years.
Yes.
Oh, I mean, didn't Nintendo? Didn't
I think
Nintendo
Nintendo
say
has
it's coming
said
this
that
year?
yes, it's coming this year. But it seems like that, like maybe like this week or next week, there's going to be like an announcement of what it actually is. And
Yeah.
and
I
it's
mean, we
been
know
like
what it
8 years.
is.
It's been 8 years since Mario
Oh
Wonder
my
came, or
God.
since Mario Odyssey came out. So
Odyssey.
it's like about time for another new 3D
Yes,
Mario.
one
So
of
I'm
those,
hoping that maybe some of the stuff from this gets folded back.
Well,
into
Bowser,
those.
we got Bowser's Fury. We got Bowser's Fury.
I mean,
a
that's
few
like a
years ago.
3-hour add-on to a game that already
Yeah,
came out.
yeah.
That is definitely not a new game by any means.
Well, it's a new game that's very small. It does things that aren't in other 3D Mario games. It just doesn't do them for very long.
Yeah,
Right.
which is kind of ideal. I don't know if I would want. I don't know if I
Yeah.
really want a true giant open world Mario game necessarily.
I feel like there's like
I've
a
heard lot of
50-50 chance that's what you're gonna get.
I've heard a lot of people say that's what they want, but I kind of like
I
that
don't-
Mario is divided
no.
up into little bite-sized chunks.
Bite-sized chunks.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? Like a
Galaxy
pizza
3.
is great, but pizza is better when it's cut into slices.
Mhm.
Just eating a pizza is really hard.
All of my favorite Mario games are the ones that are the most bite sized, and the
Yeah.
ones that I seem to like a little bit less are the ones that have like Odyssey.
Galaxy
I liked a
2,
lot,
3D
but it
Land.
had
They're 3D World,
yeah.
sorry, not Land.
Yeah.
Land
Yeah.
is also good, but
but like
Yeah.
like Odyssey has just like a bunch of really big maps, right? And that's fine, but yeah, like I like the 3D World approach of like, well, this is like a little tiny thing and it only happens. And like Galaxy was great about that too, right?
Yeah.
It's like some of the galaxies have 5 stars or whatever, but like there's some that are just like really super small things where you just do it once. There's 1 star, there's one, whatever.
Yep.
Well, this game shows that they still got a lot of gas in the tank.
Yes.
This is like mostly new people, right? Like that was kind of like one of the things they talked about. This was like a lot of young people getting.
They traditionally
to
the
do Mario
2Ds
stuff.
is where they let people cut their teeth and learn, and then 3D is where they
The big
sort of the
names.
vets. Yeah.
But one of the things that came up in response to all the fucking layoffs and shit was that like, hey, that like there were people in Mario Wonder who worked on games as early as like Mario 2, I want to say, that are still at Nintendo and like actively working on making games. And it was like, yeah, well, you get good games when you keep your people around and treat them well.
Yeah.
Fucking idiots,
Yeah.
Yeah, but also that doesn't you can't.
But the shareholders.
Right, I was gonna say you can't like
Right.
get a little bit of extra shareholder economy out of not laying people
If you have to
off,
pay
so,
salaries to people who have worked there
Anyway.
for a long time.
I think have we hit all the special awards? We did mechanic, we did that one. Oh, you know what we didn't do? We didn't do the demo of the game most likely to be in the top 2024 top 10, which we had incredible foresight because Joe and I played a shitload of the demo for Balatro before it. I mean, this only had like a very basic amount of jokers and things in it.
Yes.
And
It had like 20 jokers and like 2 of the decks.
and it was incredible then. And I mean, who knows? We don't know where it's going to end up on our top 10 list. We do know that it won a few other.
There is no way
People's
it
Game of
won't
the
be
Year.
in it.
I mean,
I
I
was
have a
gonna
pretty
say-
good idea of where it's going to end up, but
I have a pretty good
It's
idea
gonna be.
of where it's going to
I
end
think it's
up,
going to be
too.
decently high.
Yeah.
I'm calling it now.
I haven't decided where I'm personally putting it yet because there are 3 games that are basically like neck and neck at the top of my list for this year that I have not been able to order,
I
but
know
it's going to
where
be
it's
in my
gonna
top
be on
3.
I know where it is on my list.
I know.
It's an all. I mean, we were right. I'll just say we were right. Like this is
we were right. Yes.
in the realm of the true roguelike kind of category of games. There's for me it was Spelunky, Binding of Isaac, Slay the Spire, and Risk of Rain 2, and now there's a 5th one, and it's Balatro. Like that's I think that it's kind
It's
of
a
an incredible
solid
game.
set of games.
Yeah.
Mhm. And I still have been. I'm still playing this. Like I don't play it every
Yeah, me
day
too,
anymore,
yeah.
but like I regularly turn on my computer
I
and
play
go
it
like,
every day when I take a shit.
There you go.
Yeah.
The new best
You shit
stupid
every
game
day.
in the
It
on
is.
the
Listen, don't spoil my. I literally wrote that down on my notes for special awards to give out for the 2024 Stickies. I think that's it. I think we hit all the special awards. There was 3 that I deleted because I were ones that I put in, but I couldn't really remember what I was getting at, so I was like, I'll just cut them for time. But our number 1 game of 2023 was the Resident Evil 4 remake.
Yeah.
Which they took one of the all-time great games and overhauled it and updated it and made another all-time great game.
It is utterly insane to me that they pulled this off because, I mean, we talked about it at the time and people have had this sort of end of history feeling about a lot of media since, the turn of the millennium, basically. But like, I remember talking about it and being like, I don't know, this game feels too new. And it's like, yeah, dude, this game came out 14 years ago or whatever it was at the time. Or 19, right?
I was gonna say it's like 20 years now, right?
Yeah, 19 years, 20 years now. Yeah, 2005, right? So yeah, it's like this game is almost 20 years old, and it's like going back to the original Resident Evil 4. People will always grouse about like not being able to move and shoot at the same time, but like other than that, the original Resident Evil 4 still feels pretty fresh.
That's good, yeah.
From a gameplay perspective, at least, and yeah, they somehow, it's the same as Resident Evil 2, honestly. Yeah, right. Like Resident Evil 2 is an all-timer in my mind, and is one of the best games on the PlayStation, considered one of the best PlayStation games.
Absolutely.
And then they remade it, but that one,
some people may have ranked every Resident Evil game ever made and made it like number 1 or whatever.
Yeah, some crazy people might.
I think we had the remake at 1 and the original at 3 or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. I mean, but like, yeah, this is. I actually need to go back to this and like clear out the last handful of achievements because I didn't actually like 100% this game, but
this game is so much longer than Resident Evil 2.
Yeah,
like even
I
a full
beat it a bunch of times,
playthrough of 2 is way shorter than playing Resident Evil 4 once. And even like I think the one of the things I like about the remake is that it's quite a bit tighter than the original. Like it took me, maybe just because I've played it before, but it took me several hours less to play through this the first time than it did playing through Resident Evil 4 the first time. And it doesn't have the biggest thing beyond anything else is that you don't have to deal with the knife fight
quick time events.
Yeah, with what's his face?
Krauser.
Yeah, the crowd, like that was like, there were, the first time I played through that game, it took me like hours to beat that because of how awful it was.
But the way they handled it in the remake is phenomenal.
Pretty good,
like the fight with him when he's like normal Krauser before he goes like full mutant when you kill him. But like with the first time you fight him in the mines, it's really good. And also a lot of the cruft in the castle section is taken out, right? The stuff with the dumb dragon, the big dumb dragons, and the giant statue of Salazar, that's all gone.
Yeah. I don't miss the giant statue,
which helps, but I think.
The castle level,
he's in there, right?
Is just
the part where you run away from the giant statue is great, but the part where you have to like climb around it and activate it and fight a bunch of dudes around it is not very interesting. So I'm fine.
That's the part with like the Donkey Kong guys that are rolling giant boulders and shit down at you, right?
Yes. It's not good. I don't love it.
I don't know. I'm the weirdo who never even liked Resident Evil 4, and this game absolutely converted me.
I'm the one that never had played Resident Evil 4 until this came out.
Oh, that's so weird.
and I loved it. I put it third.
And I put it second.
One for Joe, 2 for Mike, 3 for me.
And honestly, like revisionist history, it's maybe my number 1 game of this year.
Sure.
Maybe. I love Dave, but I played a lot of this game. I had a really good time with it. I played the Separate Ways DLC. That was also fun. I love like the changes they made to the script. I think make it actually like a much sharper game that is still very dumb at times.
Absolutely.
In a very endearing way, but it takes a lot of the weird gross sexism out of it. Like I think the mechanics are
where Luis doesn't like make a pass.
Well, they give Luis an arc in this version.
Yeah,
like he's like a fully, instead of just like a guy that shows up a couple of times, like he has a full like arc. He's more of a character in this. Like that was one of the probably one of the best improvements, really. was that
Yes.
you spend more time with him and kind of learn more about who he is and what he's doing. It isn't just like dumped on you in a memo.
Yeah. Right.
He's actually a character, which is good.
I am actually shocked that we have not had an announcement of what the next game
Yeah.
in the series is, because I
Resident Evil
thought we
9,
would.
Resident
Right,
Evil
I was
Code
gonna say,
Veronica remake, you know,
yeah. I
something.
mean,
Resident Evil 1
there was rumor. I feel
remake.
like there was, as I say, there was discussion that they were going to remake one again.
Sure. I mean, if you put it in the context of making
like correctly,
they could do Zero
They
correctly.
could try.
Zero is the one that I think is actually even more than Code Veronica in the worst need of a remake.
Well, I mean, because that's a bad game.
Right. Yes.
Right?
Correct.
Like that's like
Correct.
the one OG Resident Evil game that's like a 4 or 5 out of 10, right? Like that's not a very good game.
Yeah,
Even
right.
at the time, it was not a very good game.
Right.
So, I mean, I would personally, devour a fucking co-op Resident Evil 2 style game, right? If that's
Yes.
what the path that they
God,
wanted
yes.
to make, that would be incredible.
Yes.
But who knows if they'll actually, do that or not. That might be more, that would require a lot more work, I think, than, since Resident Evil 0 like is not revered by anybody. That would be a lot of work to put into a thing like that. But also, like, all of these games have sold a ton, so maybe they would get something out of it anyways.
I really my personal desire for Resident Evil 9 is to finally get a game where the playable characters are Jill and Claire, because there's no games that feature both of them as playable characters. I don't think, maybe in in Mercenaries probably there is, but
except I mean, if there's a 9, it'll be Ethan's daughter probably.
They kind of did that stuff in the DLC for.
That's true. Yeah, that's right. I never played the DLC for 9 or for 8.
There's been a lot of rumors.
Yeah.
The stuff that's been rumored is that it's going to be like the end of Chris's story, is what people are saying. But like those rumors could be. I mean,
but that doesn't mean you necessarily will play as Chris.
That's true. That's true.
He's finally gonna die.
You're gonna play as the dog from the
punching boulders.
We have rehabbed the Chris Redfield character arc by putting him in 7 and 8. So he's not much of a boulder puncher these days.
No, but the Magneto Nicolas Cage does call him a boulder punching asshole.
It is true, yeah. And he does just kind of show up and cobble together a tank out of random bits and pieces in a castle.
A non-magnetic
yes.
tank.
That's an incredible game.
Yeah, but I also the RE engine, the Reach the Moon engine is it's not quite as, I mean, they want these games to run on a potato if you have to make them do that, so it's not as on the highest settings I can play it.
This and we turned the settings all the way down, and it looked like the Game Boy Color version of Resident Evil.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the engine is really capable. It looks really good. It doesn't look quite like, in terms of 2023 games, this is like a close second for me to Alan Wake 2. Alan Wake 2 is obscenely gorgeous, but this engine that Capcom's been making their games out of looks great. And I'm actually I was never a huge Onimusha dude, but I'm kind of into the idea of the Onimusha remake.
Sure.
So we'll see how that goes.
They're using RE engine for Monster Hunter now.
They use it for everything, I think.
I mean, yeah. I think I'm trying to remember if it was in World. It probably was.
I think it was. And the thing that
that
convinced me when I was like, oh, Capcom spent a bunch of money on this, they're just going to use it for everything now, is Capcom Arcade Stadium, which is just a compilation of arcade games, but it's like the fake arcade that you can select the games from, and all that stuff is all RE engine.
Yeah.
And then Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection, believe it or not, is an RE engine game, and I was like, they're just going to use this for fucking everything, because if they're making 2D platformers with it, fuck it, they're just
Okay, so what, 2027, is that when we get the Resident Evil 7 remake? Because that would be more distance between Resident Evil 7 and the remake than between Resident Evil 1 and the first Resident Evil 1 remake.
Yeah, that's true. Resident Evil 7 Honestly, like when it's all the really great Resident Evil games are sort of in a cluster at the top, and as if some people may have ranked them, but
There's a lot of good ones.
On some days, I think Resident Evil 7 might be my favorite.
The first 4 hours of Resident Evil 7 are the best
Are amazing.
has ever been, I would say.
Yeah.
That game gets worse as it goes along.
That's true, but it doesn't get like really bad until the end when you're in the salt mines, and that's not very long. It's not very much of the game left.
The boat's
there.
pretty as well.
Oh yeah, actually
the boat is twice as long as it should be.
I would say doing the boat
twice
because you have to do the boat twice. If you only had to do the boat once, I think I would.
That doesn't have anything to do with Resident Evil 4 though.
So it's twice
which
as long
has
as it
how'd you guys feel about? I loved what they did with the boat in Resident Evil 4. Like kind of. Like that's one of the few things that they actually like fleshed out and made longer was the boat section.
Little hub area.
And I really enjoyed that. I liked exploring and floating around on that boat. And the boss fight against the big salamander was also very good, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
everything
you can still do the thing where you shoot if you stand on the dock and shoot in the water, he'll come out and eat you in one hit. Yep. Also, apparently, I don't know if I remember if we talked about this when we talked about it last. I guess it doesn't matter because that got eaten. But the the voice actor who plays Leon apparently like improved the bingo line. So they rewrote it, and the new script had something different that wasn't "Where's everybody going?" bingo. And like he was in the booth or whatever, and he's like, "Can I just like riff a little bit?" And the director's like, "Well, yeah, just do whatever." And so he did the original line, "Where's everybody going bingo?" And they're like, "You know what? That's correct. We're just gonna leave it. We're gonna which is correct." I was like, when the demo came out, I was like, the most important question has been answered, which is that they did not rewrite the bingo line. So
I mean, the shopkeeper, the merchant, they also got that right. Yeah.
Yes.
That's honestly so. Well, whatever.
Just need to be a little too chatty.
We went pretty fast through this, but I was just gonna say, like in the Silent Hill 2 remake, they redo the voice for the weird radio trivia game thing, and it sucks.
That's
it's like one of those things. Like it's one of those things that like you had to get that right in the way that you had to get the merchant voice right in this game, and they fumbled the thing. Other than that, that's a good
James Sunderland.
Yeah, it's kind of disappointing. Anyway, all right. Well, should we go? Is there anything else to say about Resident Evil 4 other than hey, that's a great video game?
That's an
incredible pacing.
Yeah, incredible pacing.
Yep.
Variety of weapons, all the bonus stuff is super fun as it always
is.
I love that Capcom
is really good.
Yes, I love that Capcom feels like one of the few, maybe the only major like AAA publisher who still like just lets you unlock things through the course of like secrets, like bonus, the infinite rocket launcher, shit like that. Like you get to unlock it through gameplay. Yeah, instead of just like, oh, here's DLC that's like a super overpowered thing now that you beat the game.
You can also just buy it. So
you can just buy it.
The best of both worlds.
Yes. Yes. Oh man, also, I forgot about all the good ass charms that you get on your briefcase. Yeah. Oh man, that was a really great new addition of the inventory Tetris plus the charms.
The mini game, the shooting gallery mini game is quite a bit better in this, I think too. Yeah.
Yes.
I will say I shouldn't have rolled straight into separate ways after finishing this game because I played it a few months after it came out. That was maybe a little bit too much consecutive Resident Evil.
Yeah, I did that as well, and then I was like, I'm gonna take a little break.
Yeah, it's actually it's been like they had been cranking them out pretty hard, right? Like there was like 7, and then
1 a year.
7, 2 remake, 3 remake, 8, and then this, and we had like 5 Resident Evil games in 6 years or something, and then now it's been quite a bit, but I mean, that's one of the best runs a major franchise has ever had, I think.
I mean, it's just honestly, it's after 6, it's like still shocking, right?
I mean, it was dead and buried after 6.
It was so bad.
Yeah,
like,
it was
were
so bad.
We have to like.
They should remake
out.
6.
And they did.
But I was gonna say they should. I was gonna joke earlier. They should remake 6.
I don't. 5 is going to be real hard to remake.
I don't think you can remake it without.
Like you have to like go back to the design doc of that game and like
make it less racist.
Yeah.
Yeah, just do that.
I mean, I guess you can just change the the setting, but then you have to
Just
change
change Chris
everything else,
Redfield's
too.
skin color.
Yeah. Make it, just change the protagonist to somebody that's from that area.
Actually,
rather than
that's another character who like does like I feel like Shiva got like she got done dirty.
Eva.
she got done dirty because she was in that game, but like she's I actually think she's the best part of Resident Evil 5.
Yes, I mean she doesn't really have a lot of like any of those characters. Like the newer characters all have more stuff to them than the old ones.
That's what I'm saying. Bring back
give Sheva a game.
Or a game. Yeah,
I would play that.
Here's my thing. Give us a co-op Resident Evil. That could be 0, like we discussed. That could be 5.
Yeah.
Do a new co-op one.
Do a new co-op one.
God, I played so much Resident Evil 5.
I'm down with that.
Oh, what if you could be Mia and Baby Winters?
Or what's the Irish lady from Revelations 2, Joe? Moira something?
Oh, Moira, yeah. Isn't she a Wesker's daughter or something?
Yeah, bring back Moira.
Yeah.
I mean, six is that, right? If they redid 6, that would have all that co-op stuff in it.
Oh no, Moira's the one. Moira's like it's Barry's daughter, right? Like
she's the one that holds the flashlight.
Yeah, I thought you were. Yeah, right. Who's the bad guy? Is like Alberta Wesker or something. It's something really silly like that. But yeah.
Anyway, so that was 2023. It was a pretty darn good year for video games, I think.
They're all good years now.
Yeah. I'll bring up the whole list. You can look at it.
And so was this one, as you will find out in a little over a week when we do our.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know. Who knows? We haven't gone over it yet.
I know
it might have been bad.
There is nothing in the spreadsheet. I'm going to say that.
There's one.
Almost nothing.
One person put their number one game of the year in the spreadsheet. Yeah. So,
what could it possibly be?
It's Pico Park 2.
I will say that.
Wait, did that come out this year?
It did.
Yeah,
it did.
I checked it and then I stuck it on there.
Okay.
I mean, things are still fluid at this point, so who knows? But as of right now, our number one game for 2024 is Pico Park 2.
So, that tracks.
Anyway, all right. So we'll count down the top 10 one more time, and then we'll call it a. Because normally we would take some time to talk about things we're excited for in 2024, but we fucking lived 2024, so so we will talk about that. Like I said, the 24th, so a week and a half from now, Friday, January 24th. So our number 10 game, Risk of Rain Returns. Number 9, Void Stranger. A tie at 7 between Zelda Tears of the Kingdom and a Highland Song, which is actually a really great pairing. Then we have 6 is Dredge, and then 5 is Dave the Diver, which is another good pairing. And then Baldur's Gate 3 at 4 and Pikmin 4 at 3, which is another good pairing.
Numerically interesting.
Yeah, and then Mario Wonder is number 2, and Resident Evil 4 was our number 1. So, hey, baby.
Great.
Those are all good video games that are worth your time.
Yep.
And that's that. Unless anybody else has anything else to say.
I'm retroactively taking a point away from Baldur's Gate and giving it to a Highland Song to break the tie. It's now above Tears of the Kingdom.
Okay. Thanks, Mike. That warms the cockles of my heart have been warmed. I love Highland Song. I'm gonna go play that again. Actually,
I've been thinking about doing it.
Now that I'm done, like trying to cram stuff in for 2024, before we do our end of the year thing, like I should play some more of that because there's still mountains I haven't seen, But anyway, that's it. Goodbye. Thank you. And
bye.
we will talk to you again next week.
Indeed.